Hey, what's up guys? Hope you're having a good day. We are at Full House Poker for tonight's game, and we definitely have a crazy action player. So I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. Let's get in the hands and let's see what happens. All right guys, this is a crazy session. There's $5 button straddle, small blind raise up to 50 bucks. He's been doing this for like 5 hands, like raising to 50, 75, 85 with just insane hands. I mean, his range is all over the place. So when I look down from the hijack and see pocket 10s and he only has about 120 in his stack, I'm going all in. So that's what I do. I put all my chips in the middle. He obviously makes the call because he's already been stacked like 3 times. I just haven't gotten a hand against him. Have you ever seen like a crazy player get on your table and donate their chips to everyone and you can do nothing because you just haven't got a hand against them? Yeah, that's how I was. I was just watching this guy double up everyone around me while I just waited patiently for my turn, finally got 10s, finally found my spot. And of course, this time, he has ace queen. Yep, it's the best hand he's had. This guy rips it, which I understand. Coming from this type of player, I would expect nothing less than just to rip it. I mean, he's not putting all his money in there to chop pots. He's wanting to win. Flop comes out 8, 9, 3, no ace, no queen, please. 4 of clubs. He doesn't have clubs, so we're good there. And the 7 of clubs secures us a $245 pot. Let's go. We finally got to bust the pinata too. Feels so good. Feels so good. Busting pinatas, making some money. Anyway, we won this pot, but we will be in other hands with him. Moving on to the next one. All right, guys. So next hand, we look down and see Queen 10 of diamonds from under the gun. He is the button. He straddles for $5. The big blind player is new to the table, so he doesn't know this guy's antics, and he decides to raise to 25. I call, knowing very good and well that the button player is going to re-raise, which he does. He makes it $95. Man, oh man. Queen 10's kind of a gamble. You should not call it against most people, but against this player, I'm going to be making the call. Big blind makes the call, I make the call as well, and we're going 3 ways to a flop. I've also played with the big blind player quite a bit, and his range could be pretty wide here. He doesn't have to have like aces or ace king if he's raising to 25. He could have pocket 9s, he could have pocket 10s, pocket jacks, things like that. He could also do it with like 8s. We both check it. Button player goes all in for 108. It's on the big blind player, and considering he checked flop the big blind player, I think my queen is good against him. And the button player, hell, he could have anything. I'm just gonna have to gamble. So big blind makes the call. I immediately make the call behind, and this player then does something very strange. The button player, he flips over his cards as if the hand is over. Yeah. It's wild. He shows he has a set of 4s. I've seen this guy make this move with 10 high all night long. Not all night long. He's probably been playing for about an hour and a half. That's how long it's taken me to find 2 hands to play. But I've seen him do it for an hour and a half where he has nothing. Of course, the hand I'm in against him with, he just has it. He just has a set. So turn, deuce of clubs, check, check. River's 8 of diamonds goes check, check as well. The player to my right, the big blind player, had a pocket pair, and we beat his pocket pair, so we were right to call behind. But unfortunately, the crazy player just happened to show up with the goods. So $609 pot going his way. All right, so far we have 1 win and 1 loss. We're pretty much even against the crazy guy on the table. He has already given away all the chips that he made in that pot, but he has bought in for another 300. I look down and see pocket queens. There's a $5 button straddle. He raises it up to $40, and we get some callers. Middle position makes a call. I'm raising. I'm not going to try and slow play this. I make it 150 bucks. No reason not to raise against the action player on the table. I have no reason to think he'll fold. He may go all in over the top with pocket 4s again. I mean, last time he made it, 80 with pocket 4s and just happened to hit a set. I'll take those odds all day long. He's not going to hit sets every time, right? The crazy guy calls, and you know what's crazier than this guy calling this bet and every bet that comes his way? The fact that only 22% of you guys are subscribed, 77% are not. It is free to do, doesn't cost you anything. So please help support the channel if you enjoy the content and drop a sub. Doesn't cost you a single penny. We get back to the middle position player. He makes the call as well, and we are going to be going 3 ways to this flop. I show some buddies my hand. I'm just like, hey, look, I finally got a hand. Flop comes out, it's pretty decent. Jack, queen, jack, flop top full house. Feel pretty good about it. Feel unbeatable. Feel untouchable. And it's crazy when the small blind player checks. Middle position checks as well. I have no reason to bet. I have the nuts. I'm going to check. Yes, I know pocket jacks are the nuts, but come on, man. Like, give me a break here. This is basically a nuts. I wanted to give the small blind player some rope to hang himself. That's exactly what he does. Once the flop checks through, he just can't help but go all in for his remaining $150. Maybe he has a flush draw. Doubt he has a jack. He would have gone all in on the flop. So flush draw, maybe, probably ace high, maybe king high, not sure. Gets back to the middle position player and he folds. I immediately make the call. We go to run it once. He flips over his cards. I think he has like an ace in there, like ace 10 maybe. So he has like a straight draw and a pair draw. Hey, he hits his ace. He hits top pair. So good for him. Sadly for him though, it doesn't beat queens full. He thought he won for a second. He's like, hey, I win. I was like, no, I got a full house. You didn't win. You didn't win. But he really thought he did. So $750 pot coming our way. Feels good to get another win against him. Hopefully we can keep this going. Fingers crossed, but every hand we're in with him is definitely a gamble because you never know what he has. 750 coming our way. Moving on to the next hand. All right, guys, for next hand, we are playing a pot limit Omaha hand. We look down and see 7, 9, 10 jack with 3 hearts in our hand. There's a $5 and $10 button straddle. I am the cutoff and I put out $10. At this point in time, our crazy action player has left the building. He has stopped rebuying, unfortunately for everyone. And yeah, he's a good guy. He's a great guy. Super fun to play with. And when he's hitting, he will stack the entire table. It's crazy. He just, wasn't hitting tonight. Low jack raise up to 40. I make the call because I'm very connected. If an 8 comes out and any other card, I pretty much have a wrap. But makes the call. I want to see a flop. $40 basically for what we've been seeing all night is kind of a deal at this point. And I'm just used to the other guy making it like 80, 50, things like that. So 40 kind of feels like a discount after all the craziness. Flop comes out and it is deuce 6, 7. So we do have a gutter ball. There are 2 diamonds out there, something to be, aware of and concerned with. Low jack fires out for $40. I think with top pair, a gut shot and possible 2 pair draws, things like that, I think I need to continue for at least 1 street. So I put out $40, make the call, and we're waiting on the button player. He thinks about it for a minute, going back and forth, saying out loud how he wants to call, he doesn't want to call. Just going back and forth, being torn by those demons of good and evil on your shoulder when you play poker. It's like, oh, chase the draws. Ooh, fold and wait for a better spot. Eventually he does listen to the one that says fold, relinquishes his cards to the dealer, and we're going heads up to the turn, which is the ace of clubs. Doesn't really change too much, and the low jack bets $40. I immediately call because he seems weak, betting 40 2 times, and I plan on bluffing on a lot of rivers. Now, when the king of diamonds comes, basing off of his bet sizing is going to depend what I want to do. And when he bets for 40 yet again, even though I don't have a single diamond in my hand, his line has looked so weak that I feel I have to raise here. So I raise up to 225. He immediately shows the ace of diamonds, and I'm like, I'm screwed. He has a nut flush. And then mucks his cards. He just had the dry guy. The bluff gets through, 320 coming our way. On to the next hand. Next hand, we see ace 3 suited from the middle position. Big blind had raised it up to 15 under the gun called. I make the call. In button calls, we are going 4 ways to the flop, and we hit top pair. But we have a weak kicker. 6, ace 5, rainbow is the flop. Action goes to the big blind player. He bets 25. After hitting top pair, I don't really think I can fold. I do wish there was a club or 2 out there to make me feel a little bit better about this, but for 1 bet, can't fold top pair. So I throw on the chips, make the call. Turns a 7 of hearts. I am very happy to see him check. I check behind. No need to bloat up this pot in case he has a bigger ace. And it's just kind of one of those things where you can't go for 3 streets with ace 3 all too often. 5 of hearts comes on the river. He checks, and I do think this is the time I need to go for value. So that's what I do. I bet $40. He thinks about it for a second, but not too long before he throws in the chips. I let him know I have the ace, and he shows that he had pocket kings. What? That's crazy. $198 pot coming our way. On to the next hand. All right, we are in the small blind for this hand. Look down and see the beautiful ace queen suited. I have every intention of raising. As soon as someone raises this pot, I want to re-raise them and make this pot a large one because I have a good hand and I'm out of position. And I think with ace queen, this hand, this strong, if you're out of position, you should be re-raising. But all that goes out the window when the cutoff decides to make it $30. That's a 15x raise. That's a huge raise, and it definitely makes me think twice about re-raising. I'm not going to fold though. Too strong of a hand to fold. I want to see at least a flop with this. So I put in the $30, make the call. We're going heads up to the flop, and the flop is, pretty far away from what our hand is. Flop comes out 9 deuce 7 rainbow. At least there's a heart out there, and we have 2 overs. Flop checks through, and the jack of hearts comes on the turn. Perfect card for me to start bluffing and start building the pot in case I do get there. So I bet $50. Cutoff isn't quite done with this hand yet. I did think it would take more than one bet to take this one down, especially from this player. So when the 6 of diamonds comes on the river, unfortunately, we did not hit, but it's not going to change my action. I'm still going to take a stab because I don't think that ace high is good here. So I put out a bet for 120 around 3/4 pot, and he goes into the blender. This player normally acts very quickly, and he knows what he is going to do. He's a decisive player, and the fact that he's in the blender is a good sign because that means he has a hand that is definitely foldable. So fingers crossed, please fold your hand. Why are you grabbing chips? Oh, he calls. I let him know he's good. I have ace high. He flips over pocket 8s. Yep, they're good. He's definitely a sticky player, one that's hard to bluff, but I feel like with this hand, I had to take a stab. 300 going his way, on to the next hand. All right, guys, we're in the low jack for the next hand. Look down and see ace jack offsuit. Pretty good hand. I've won quite a few pots with it. You can go over the vlogs to find that out. There's a raise to 25 from the under the gun player. I make the call. Action folds around until it gets to the big blind player. He thinks about it for a second. And this was one of my first times playing with this gentleman. I've played with him a couple times, but it's not that many. He put in the money, he made the call. Basically what I'm telling you is I do not know how this gentleman plays. 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes out, and it's a decent flop. It's definitely a flop we need to see a turn with because it comes out and it is 9-10 queen. We flop open-ended, but if we hit the king, we have the nut straight. So any jack that thinks they have the best hand because they have a straight, we will be beating them with the king. On the flip side of that coin though, if an 8 comes out and someone already has king jack, we will think that we are good with the jack when really we are just sucking hind tit to them the entire time. Big blind player is going back and forth with his chips. He is grabbing chips one by one, putting them in his hand until he lands on a number of $50. He bets into both of us for $50, about 2/3 pot. Seems like a reasonable bet. And when the under the gun player calls, I don't see any reason why I should fold. Definitely want to see another card, so I put in the 50, make the call as well. 3 ways to the turn, which is a boom. 5 of diamonds. That's the brickiest brick I've seen in my entire life. That hit nobody. That 5, it changed nothing on this board. Nobody cares about that 5 of diamonds. Big blind player now checks, and under the gun bets 100. So I put in the call pretty quickly. I would say too quickly, honestly. I know there's 225 in there, and when you put it in the 100, it's 325. So I'm getting okay on my money, assuming that, I'm good with any 8, with any king, and, with any ace. If all those are clean outs, then maybe it's an okay call. But I actually think it should be a fold. Looking back and going over the footage now, I think this is just a fold. Half of my outs probably won't be clean because someone's on a flush draw. So, oh well. Put in the call, learn from our mistakes, or reap the rewards from our mistakes. We'll see on the river. Also, the small blind player went all in for 50. River's a 10 of hearts, changes nothing. If we're behind, we're behind. Goes check, check. Believe it or not, the small blind player had king jack. I don't know why he took so long to call on the turn for his remaining $50, but he did. And he wins the main pot. The side pot does go to the under the gun player. He hit the queen, so 475 going other ways on to the final hand. All right, for the final hand, guys, we're playing a double board PLO bomb pot. That means everyone puts in a $5 ante, and we go to 2 flops. We have ace, jack, 10, jack with 2 spades. Pretty good starting hand, I'm not gonna lie to you. Top board is 3, 10, king with 2 diamonds. Bottom board is deuce, 6, 5 with 2 spades. So we have the nut flush draw on bottom, and we have a gut shot to Broadway along with a pair of 10s up top. We also have runner flush up top as well. With all that out of the way, we check. The button bets $20. Small blind is going to call. I'm definitely going to call. I have a draw to the nuts on bottom and on top, so easy call. No reason to raise and bloat the pot. There could be all kind of turns we hate, so just a smooth call right here. Middle position makes the call. Under the gun made the call as well. Low jack makes the call, and we're going about 50 ways to a couple of turns. 155 in the pot. Turns come out, 5 of hearts up top and 10 of hearts down below. So now we have a 10 on each board, and we still have the same draws we had before. Having a 10 on each board isn't really that good or bad. It kind of doesn't change anything, but cutoff ends up potting it for 155. That does get the small blind player out of the way, but I still think I have a little too much on both boards to fold quite yet, so I put in the call for 155. The player to my left does go into the tank here. The under the gun player, he thinks about for quite a while, so I don't know what he has. He could have a diamond draw up top, and I'm gonna be honest, if I didn't have a draw to the nuts on 2 boards, I would probably just fold here and live to fight another day. But since I do have a draw to the nuts on 2 separate boards, that's why I put in the 155 and made the call. Yes, I'm on draws, but we could hit. Anyway, under the gun player makes the call, and the middle position player ends up going all in for his remaining $25, juicing up the pot quite nicely. Thank you for the 25. We will try to put it to good use if we win. 645 into the middle. We're going 3 ways with action to the rivers. River up top is the 8 of spades, jack of diamonds down below. Now, would have been amazing to see the 8 of spades on bottom, because then we had the nut flush outside of, yes, the straight flush, but we did hit a set on bottom. So when the button player bets 200, I think the set is good enough to make the call. I know there's a flop straight, but based off the action, I feel like no one has a straight. And with 645 in the middle, when he bets 200, I just think I'm getting the right price to call and sometimes be wrong. The player to my left, under the gun player, makes a call as well, bringing the pot up to 1,245. Luckily, the player to my left had a set himself. He had a set of 5s, I believe. So we outset him on the river. The player on the button only has a king up top. He has ace king. That's what he has up top. Believe it or not, he's getting half of this entire pot with ace king. No one had 2 pair. No one had a set. No one had anything. Half the pot with ace king. That's insane. I had to hit a set to get half the pot, and I had to set over set someone. 1245 getting chopped up 2 ways, so that is going to be around $620 for each of us from that pot. Not a bad way to end the night. Let's go on to the outro to see how we did. All right, guys, so just to let you know, I'll tell you right now, I ended up only breaking even for the vlog. There was a lot of hands you guys didn't see that I got chipped down for like $25 here and there to see flops and just missed entirely. We ran to the guy's set of 4s, the action player at the very beginning. That took away a lot of our profit. We ended up bluffing and getting caught, so that took away some of our profit. And it just kind of is what it is. You know, with going over the vlog, it looks like I should have a bigger win. The reason why is because I don't post the hands where I lose 25 here, 25 here, you know, like 15 pre-flop and then like 30 on the flop, so I lose 45 there. Those hands add up, you know. After I have to see a few flops and just brick everything, it adds up. So that's why I ended up breaking even and not making a profit tonight. And that's why you guys didn't see like certain hands where I lost, because they just weren't big enough or notable enough, but over the course of a session, they do add up. So if you guys are returning viewers, I'll catch you on the next one. If you're new, please drop a sub if you enjoy the content. And until then, you guys have fun and be safe.